was really bad. It was really, really bad. I know some people liked it. I didn't. This show, not good. This wasn't good. And it gave you no reason to watch next week. I mean, usually the Raw after WrestleMania, you're supposed to leave people with something that gets them into it and gets them wanting to watch next week. You restart the show. That's what you do. You had WrestleMania. A lot of stuff happened. Now you hit the reset button, or in some people's case, the continue button. They did some of that, but it was mostly just, hey, we want to have a highly energetic show. Here's some story stuff, and then of course here's a bunch of matches. These dudes spent 45 minutes, the first 20 of which was just Triple H and Cody Rhodes in the ring, slurping each other, putting each other over, showing video packages, talking about how great WrestleMania was, how much money they made, the biggest gate, all this crap. And I was just like, oh my God, can we get to something? About 25 minutes into the show, 30 minutes into the show, The Rock appears. And The Rock hangs around for almost 20 minutes because the crowd keeps chanting and they're dragging this segment out. Because The Rock can't get out what he wants to say because the crowd is chanting weird stuff at him. First they chant Undertaker at him. Then they chant shut the F up at him. Then they started whatting him. And there's all sorts of shenanigans going on with this crowd. Ultimately, The Rock put over Cody. After all the things he did to Cody, Cody still won. Cody still beat Roman Reigns. Then he asked Cody if he could hold his belt. Then he says he's held every WWE championship in his hands, but he hasn't held that belt. Can he hold that belt? So Cody says, sure, if I can hold your belt. So they switched championships. The crowd said this is awkward, because it was. The Rock held the title in his hands, the WWE Championship, put it on his shoulder, then told Cody this feels right. This feels about right. And they switched titles back. Then The Rock said he's going away for a while, but when he's coming back for Cody, champion or not. Then he said that his story with Roman might be over, but his story with The Rock is just now beginning because he pinned Cody on Saturday. So Cody said, well, you're the boss. You're on the board. I'm the champion. That means I'm their champion, which means I'm your champion. And The Rock says, yes, you are my champion. And then The Rock put something in Cody's hand. I don't know what it was. Nobody knows what it was. Then The Rock told Cody, never break my heart again. If you smell what the final boss is cooking. He comes out there dressed like Elvis again. All right. The Rock stuff was fine. The stuff with Triple H was egregious and probably could have been done online. I get you want to do the Cody video package. We can do that. I didn't hate that. I thought it was okay. Celebrating the new champion. Thought it was fine. You got the crowd chanting, thank you, Roman. Cody's putting over Roman. How long he was champion and all that kind of stuff. Look, I understand. It's the same thing they did with Gunther. Everybody who touched their microphone tonight, every single person, put over their WrestleMania opponent. Every single one. I don't get it. And these people are supposed to be heels. These are baby faces putting over the heels. Oh, yes, Roman Reigns held the title hostage for 4 years, completely cheating in every single match, manipulating people, being an absolute tyrant and dickhead. But you got to respect him. I mean, wasn't he great, guys? No, he was a tyrant and a dickhead. What in the world is we celebrating this guy for? We're supposed to be happy Roman Reigns is gone. That should be where the energy is, that Roman's gone. 1,300 days, Roman Reigns, one hell of a champion. I get you put him over because you beat him, but you're supposed to be happy that he's gone, not getting the crowd to chant for him. He's the heel. What are you doing? They laid the groundwork for the Cody and The Rock to do stuff in the future. The Rock's got movies to shoot and other things to do. Okay, fine. But Cody is now the champion, and they immediately decided they were not going to set up a feud for him. They were not going to lean into it. He was not going to be confronted by anybody who was going to be around for a while. The Rock doesn't have some kind of devious plan that's going to screw Cody around until he comes back or anything like that, which is what I thought. I thought maybe, The Rock would introduce somebody else and this person would keep Cody occupied until The Rock comes back. That would have been interesting. Instead, Cody's just got up with the belt. I guess we'll figure out on SmackDown what he's going to be doing. But whatever. He was out there for 45 minutes, and I don't think he achieved much of anything, if we're being honest. And then he didn't show up for the rest of the night. So there that goes. Ilya Dragunov makes his Raw debut, defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in a fairly stiff match. Okay, didn't hurt Dragunov none. A lot of Nakamura fans were pretty upset. They were kind of pissy. But Nakamura is near the end of his career. Dragunov is near his prime. It seems fair to me. Roxanne Perez also defeated Indy Hartwell later in the show. So they're basically showing you that the NXT talent is going to be part of the draft that's coming up. And the draft will be, I believe, in late April. So they're doing the draft after WrestleMania, but I believe it's before Backlash, or I'm not sure. But that's why the NXT talent were there. I would have preferred utilizing the people you've already called up. You already called up Tiffany Stratton. You've already called up Brian Breaker. Why did you bring in Ilya Dragunov and Roxanne Perez to the show? Just use the people you've already called up. Where's Cameron Grimes? Oh, he was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I know somebody is keeping track. It's one of my subs. One of you guys. You've been keeping track of how long Cameron Grimes was out. I think it was like 20 weeks. Like 80 weeks or something like that. It was some crazy number. It was in the tens, I'm sure. But those guys don't get a look. You've already brought them up. They're just sitting around chilling, collecting paychecks. We're going to bring in Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov versus Nakamura was fine, but just a weird decision. Okay, so Judgment Day comes out there. They all rally around Rhea Ripley, who won her match. Then Damian Priest is, he comes out. He has a new theme song, which, again, everybody in WWE is so uncreative. Everybody's theme song has talking or a catchphrase or something at the beginning before it gets into generic drums or guitars or whatever. This time it's All Rise, because that's Damian Priest's gimmick. All Rise. So that's the only thing you can hear is All Rise and then just random music. It sucks. All the Death Rebel music sucks. I don't know who remixed the Rock's theme because it rules. But this Death Rebel thing, trash. Damian Priest put himself over, called himself and Rhea Ripley the Terror Twins, and says that they're always rising to the occasion. And everybody else should too. They should all rise for the Judgment Day. And then here comes R-Truth. R-Truth still thinks he's in the Judgment Day. Says he brought the tag team titles back to the Judgment Day. But think that they should let the Miz in. So, of course, Damian Priest, he's the world champion now. He's back into arguing with R-Truth about whether R-Truth is in Judgment Day or not. That's what you did with the new world champion. You have him getting into arguments with R-Truth about whether he's still in. The same thing he was doing 4 weeks ago. Except for now he has a belt. Okay, whatever. It ends up with Awesome Truth versus Judgment Day in a handicap match as R-Truth says, you three versus us two and the man you can't see. Everybody is chanting for John Cena. And for a long time, there was no John Cena. And then there was John Cena. What took him so long? He had to get his jorts on? Was he just back there chilling and watching and waiting for the most appropriate moment? Cena comes in. It becomes a squash as soon as he comes in. JD McDonough and all those guys, they get beat up. They all do Cena's moves. They do the suplex and the 5-knuckle shuffle, the 15-knuckle shuffle, the triple AA, big win for Awesome Truth and John Cena. It popped the crowd, but it really didn't do anything for anybody else. I guess it's fun. It was just, I guess it put the smiles on faces. Cena was there. He went in there. He didn't take a bump. He gave bumps, and then that was it. It was fine, I guess. I can't complain. Rhea Ripley later approached Dominic and said that Dominic has to make things right because he trusted Andrade, and Andrade betrayed him. And I was like, this is something we should have addressed in the ring when we was playing around with our truth. This is certainly something we should have addressed. Andrade was actually in the building that night too because he was hanging out with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. I don't think we got any further developments on that, but they're leading Andrade and Dominic to doing things. And I want to say this. That tag team match at WrestleMania Night 1, the Andrade Rey versus Dominic and Santos Escobar, was a good match until those two big jabronis got involved. I think I might have kind of blew through it and didn't say it was actually a good match, but it was. It just sucks that, the ending was ruined because it had two giant jabronis who play football for the Philadelphia Eagles in weird positions, not like the star running back or anything like that. I'm just getting frustrated all over again. Never mind. But they're going to build a Dominic Andrade feud, which could be fun. I like that. So while Rhea Ripley was giving Dominic his marching orders, Liv Morgan decides she's not going to behave anymore, and she crashes a chair across the head of Rhea Ripley. Yes, sirree. Somebody got hit in the head with a steel chair on Monday Night Raw, and it was Rhea Ripley. A 5'4" midget person smashed a chair over her head and then proceeded to beat the tar out of her. And I'm thinking, you're like 3 months late. You sit around and let that pot boil for 3 months? Come on, man. I get it. They wanted to have the big match with her and Becky at WrestleMania. Becky, her name wasn't even mentioned tonight. So her and Seth are on vacation. Great. But you definitely could have had Becky do something else at WrestleMania. Not that I'm the hugest fan of Liv Morgan, but the story was right there. Now they're going to try to shoehorn Liv Morgan into a feud with Rhea Ripley. And it's not believable because she's done nothing but lose since she came back. How is it all of a sudden now she's a contender for this title? She's done nothing but lose. I guess we just want to watch Rhea beat her up because that's exactly what's going to happen. Dumb. Think about these things before you do them, please. All right, Sami Zayn comes out. He puts over Gunther. Gunther is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. 666 days, which is an odd choice to 666, huh? All right. All right, Sami Zayn comes out there, puts over Gunther as the greatest Intercontinental Champion, but he beat him. Said that he had a little bit of help. Said that the fans helped and somebody else helped. And then here comes Gunther. No, it's Imperium, actually. Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Kaiser is disgusted that the Intercontinental Champion is a bum, just like all the good people in Philly, after all the hard work that Gunther put into that title, which is a good burn because Sami Zayn indeed does look unhoused. He does look like a vagrant. It ended up being a tag team match as Chad Gable came out to help him. And, of course, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn defeated Imperium. Later in the show, Sami and Chad Gable agreed to an Intercontinental Championship match next week on Monday Night Raw. I don't think this is the match where Gable turns heel, but I think that is coming. I think building Gable up to be the guy who's going to dethrone Sami Zayn, I don't think it's going to be that soon, but he's got to have to turn heel in order to beat Sami Zayn, in my humble opinion. In my most humble of opinions, you screwed the babyface story for Chad Gable. Now you have to kind of lean into the bitterness. the it should have been me element of this story, so he can win that title back, or win that title from Sami Zayn. So let's do some catching up, because they did a Sheamus vignette. So Sheamus is coming back, which is great. Everybody loves them some old Shamo. They did an interesting bit here where the Sheamus vignette actually popped on shortly before Sami Zayn came to the ring, which of course is foreshadowing. They have been discussing, and it's been Sheamus' story for the last 2 years, that he's won every single championship in WWE except the Intercontinental Championship. And it just so happens that his vignette airs right before Sami Zayn comes out there. Triple H is paying attention more to detail, which is a positive, except for his, catering to the most hardcore marks and, the Ring of Honor crowd, which I could do without. At least he's paying attention to detail. He kept Sheamus off TV, which I think Sheamus has been physically fine for a while now. But they can't have him fight Gunther again because he's fought him too many times. So instead of just having Sheamus out there as a guy who's doing nothing, they kept him at home until there was a spot for him. And now they have seen that him versus Sami Zayn is the future. And I'm okay with that. Hopefully Sheamus gets that belt. Not just because I have nothing against Sami Zayn. I just think that it might be cool for a guy to have won every single championship in WWE to actually complete something that nobody else has ever done. I can't think of anybody who has been King of the Ring, won a Royal Rumble, won 2 different versions of a world title, won the US title, won, several different versions of the tag team titles, won the Money in the Bank. Just a guy who has, the ultimate champion in WWE, a guy who's in a league of his own. That could be very interesting, especially for how much time Sheamus has spent in WWE. To have that one accolade just specifically for him could be a really cool thing. But we got to get there, and they're using Chad Gable as a roadblock, I'm guessing. So that's unfortunate for him. Chelsea Green was very upset that she was left off WrestleMania, so she went to complain to all 3 general managers because Ava was there for some reason. They told her that she's going to get her big moment tonight. She goes to the ring, and her opponent is Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill squashes Chelsea Green in about 45 seconds. Chelsea complained, turned her back on Jade Cargill, actually, to complain and say that she did not agree to this and that the match should be canceled. She turned around, got kicked in the face, jaded and pinned. They're not changing the presentation for Jade Cargill. They're still refusing to make her wrestle. But she looks phenomenal, and that's all WWE really cares about. They'll figure out what to do with her in the ring up to that point. But okay, she's had her first singles match now. Even though it's the same match she's had in AEW, a lot of the AEW fans are starting to grumble because they're like, she's not doing anything differently. It's the same. Which, I think a lot of WWE fans don't care. They just like to look at Jade. They just like the idea of Jade being there. Because I figured she'll catch up eventually. The main event of this evening was not even mentioned by Damian Priest. Was not really mentioned by anybody. It wasn't put over by Cody. It wasn't put over by Triple H. It was snuck in, as they said that the match is a number 1 contenders match, fatal 4-way, Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, who was the world champion 24 hours prior, lost, and because WWE has gotten rid of their immediate rematches, he has to earn a championship match all over again. So Drew McIntyre, before the match, gets on the microphone, put over Seth Rollins, thanked him for the match, and then called Damian Priest Bondage Undertaker and said that he would kick his ass, but he might enjoy it, which the crowd kind of cringed. I laughed because this has been a thing that's been going on for a long time with Damian Priest, and he has not addressed it at all. As far as I know, he has not addressed it on the internet. He has not addressed it on television. He is not addressing it at all. Okay. He's just going to be like, everybody stop noticing. All right? Stop noticing the hood rat hair coloring and the eyeliner. Stop noticing. What's wrong with you guys? Anyway, Drew McIntyre then ranted against the Money in the Bank, said it cheapened all of the hard work Seth Rollins put into that championship, which is, a good point, but who cares about Seth Rollins' work right now? Then he turned his attention to CM Punk, called him a coward, said that Punk, he looked him in the eyes, said what he had to say to him. Punk did nothing. As soon as he turned his back, Punk attacked him. So now, anytime he sees CM Punk, it's on sight. He's going to kick his ass. But he couldn't get out too much more before Jey Uso comes to the ring. And our match is on. So Bronson Reed, who won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal just on Friday. Ricochet, who was not on the show. Drew McIntyre, who was the world champion on Sunday night. And Jey Uso, whose crowning achievement was having the worst match on both shows. And, he actually won his match, but it was the worst match on both shows. And much to my chagrin, Jey Uso won this match. CM Punk grabs Drew McIntyre's leg. It distracted him. Jey Uso takes advantage with a super kick, a spear, and an Uso splash. He wins the match. So now the World Heavyweight Championship is Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. Huh? That's right, fellas. That's right. Jey Uso versus Damian Priest. Look, loves me some Jey Uso. He's a very fun character. The gimmick is main event Jey Uso. I like it. I'm not sure if this is the right move. I mean, he's a beatable babyface for Damian Priest, I guess. And you got to have somebody. And you got to have somebody for him to face. I'm just not sure it's going to work. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how they interact or whatever. But this last segment was about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. McIntyre gets pinned once again because of CM Punk. Of course, the questions remain whether Drew McIntyre is going to stick around in WWE. He changed his name on Twitter to just Drew. And I didn't know his brother was a person that existed until WrestleMania, when I saw a bunch of people retweeting his brother a picture. His brother's name is John Galloway, because Drew's name is Drew Galloway, and they're outside of WrestleMania in the cold, I guess, or whatever, the summer, whatever it was for Sunday, and they're flipping off the posters, and they're talking about going back to Scotland. They're not watching the rest of the show because Drew's got the title taken away from him. And he was legitimately angry about this. And it was funny. I always find it humorous when people get worked like that. But his brother was pretty pissed. And I've been hearing a lot about Drew McIntyre and this contract thing, and it's not quite working out. I haven't heard any positive forward motion on it. So I guess we're just still sitting around waiting. I don't know how much time he's got left on that thing, but it must not be too much. He's already setting up future fights for CM Punk, and Punk's going to be out for a while. So I would imagine he plans to be around for a while. So it's not like it's going to, his contract is ending in 2 weeks or something like that, and he's just doing jobs on his way out. He's planning to have a match with CM Punk at some point, probably in June or something. As far as I know, he's on the posters for the Clash show in Scotland. I know that don't mean much of anything, but it's a thing that occurred. And they're also going to be doing some other European shows that Drew McIntyre might end up being a top guy on. So, like the Bash in Berlin and the show in France and that kind of stuff. So, hopefully Drew sticks around. He's been doing a really good job. But I think his character definitely benefited a lot by being screwed. The character achieving his goal only for it to have it ripped away from him, it actually helped a lot. You know, it showed multiple layers to the character that he couldn't even enjoy his own success. He had to rub it in CM Punk's face. He is obsessed with CM Punk, and I'm not even sure why anymore. It's been going on for so long. I'm not even sure why he's obsessed with CM Punk still. But it's humorous, and it was nice for CM Punk to show up tonight. Punk has been doing a lot of stuff, as far as I can tell. He's been doing a lot of media for WWE. He can't wrestle, clearly, but he's been doing a lot of the like ESPN shows and different things like this, and he's apparently having fun doing this stuff. So, you know, he's a man on death row, because once that video come out, baby, and everybody sees he's a crazy person, they're gonna be like, "Oh no, I don't want to feel on Good Morning America. I don't know about that. He choked that Jungle Kid. I don't want him on my TV no more." Said nobody ever. But apparently they think that's what's gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. So in terms of news and notes, Nick Khan wants to work with other promotions, which is one of the things that Vince never was interested in. And a lot of people freaked out at the thought of that, because they're like, "What do you mean?" It's like WWE doesn't play well with others. It's like what Nick Khan is trying to do is separate the company from what Vince was doing. He's trying to dip into all these different avenues that Vince has shut off for a long time, and one of which is maybe co-promotion and different things like this. There was something else he was talking about doing in Las Vegas. I think he might even shot an idea about doing a Las Vegas residency for WWE. And I'm thinking like, I don't know about that one, cuz like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I think you need to travel. That one don't sound like a good idea. But he's just trying different things. You know, he has the free reign to do this stuff. All Triple H cares about is the creative. He doesn't care about the business element of it. So he's, you know, Nick Khan doesn't have Vince standing over his shoulder saying no anymore. So now he's trying to figure out what he can do. And I think a lot of people who have this idea about WWE working with other promotions, it's always been Vince. You know, like, we don't know how Nick Khan views other promotions, really. We don't know how Nick Khan would view working with GCW or TNA or whatever. We don't necessarily see how that works. We just know how Vince has always done it. And we always saw how Vince chose to operate. But it's looking like he might be trying to get this whole booking fee thing. Like, oh, I can book the talent out. I have a booking contract with Shayna Baszler where somebody's going to pay me to use her. Oh, wait a minute. Let's do that then. You know, which is, you know, it might be a good idea. It might not be. I don't know. I don't know if it still works like that too, by the way. So that's just what they had, like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan way back in the 80s and 90s. They used to have booking contracts where you had to go through the company to book the talent. I think CM Punk talked about this, and when he left, they still was doing booking contracts because they had to go through WWE to use CM Punk for some other thing, from some third party thing. So I'm pretty sure they still have those. So maybe he's looking at it as a way of income. We sign a talent, and then we get other companies to pay us to use our talent. And if it makes sense and the talent wants to do it, then fine. In which case, that seems to be, it's on paper a win-win. Unless, you know, talent goes out there and snaps their goddamn ankle or something like that. Then it's not a win-win. Then it's not good, you know. But it's just something that's been thrown out there. I guess the last little piece of business here is Mark Henry being mad at Kairi Sane for not leaving the ring during the entrance to Bianca, Jade, and Naomi at WrestleMania, saying that she didn't respect the business because she didn't get out of the way and let them have that spotlight. I can see how that might be annoying, but that's just small breach of etiquette. It's not like out and out disrespect. I don't know, man. I don't know. he's got a thing, you know. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at that. And I looked at it like I saw the clip, and I'm thinking like, what did she do that was that disrespectful? She just didn't get out of the ring immediately. I think she kind of did something like she was gonna jump on him or something, and then the referee kind of separated them. She seemed to be in character, and they were doing their entrance, and she was, you know, being real scrappy do about it. And then she eventually left the ring, but it wasn't like she attacked them or interrupted the entrance at all. It just took her longer to get out of the ring than it probably should have. Seems hypersensitive to me, you know. But then again, I ain't never done this shit, so maybe maybe he knows something I don't. But that led to, you know, Dakota Kai and everybody else stand up for Kyrie because she loves this business and she cares so much about the business. It's like, come on, man. Do we need to address everything? Not everything needs to be addressed. And not everything is meant to be disrespectful. It might be a lapse in judgment, but it doesn't need to be, you know, a talking point. And not everything needs to be a stand up for wrestler X, you know, activist thing either. It's not that big a deal, man. Just say, oh, well, you know, we didn't know it meant that much to you or whatever. And let the girls sort it out. Let the girls sort it out, you know. If Bianca and them didn't have a problem with it, then it's okay. I know Shawn would have had a problem with it. He had to tell Brett to get the fuck out of the ring at WrestleMania 12. Get out of here. You got pinned. Roll out of here as quickly as possible. You know, beat it. But, you know, not everybody's like that. Some people don't mind. You know, some people it's like, they're probably not even been paying attention. We don't know. But him drawing attention to it made it a story. You know, and that's when you realize when you're doing something very tiny is when you talking about it seemingly made it a thing because nobody else seemed to care. You know, like people talking about the advertisers for each WrestleMania match. Oh, Wingstop! Oh my God! It's like, oh God, really? You gonna make that a thing? Nobody cares about that right now, really. Anyway, that was Monday Night Raw. It sucked, and we got all this time to see what Cody was gonna do, and basically he just talked about being a champion, and he had some face-to-face time with The Rock, and The Rock's leaving. So thanks for that. Now what? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.